Okay, 1936, good luck. We played plenty of times before. 3-1 up in the head-to-head, but there could be any time controls. Opponent. 460 games are rapid. We're on 900 and something. 970. I'm going to develop my bishop here, just get it outside the chain before I decide how to push the pawns. So here, if you take, we can take back. If you throw some checks in, we can always block. The knight does guard the bishop in case we get any of these issues, so I'm just going to develop and prepare castle. He's playing this very quickly. Okay, he kicks the bishop back, so let's drop back. Does he go all in? But he's already compromised the queen side with the pawn push, so white really wants to go king side, you would imagine. But let's find out. We take back there. Generally best to think of your own king's safety before you think about attacking your opponent's king. Right, so now we've castled, we can try and come up with a plan. So pawn up to guard here is very natural, rook across is very natural. Rook across, maybe a slightly favour, but pawn up, am I going to put my knight there is the question. I don't think I am. But I think rook across, knight might jump in, might do. So that might be one reason to develop the knight here first. So we can take and then take here. We might end up with this sort of concept. Okay, let's develop our knight. As long as we don't blunder this pawn, it's guarded right now. We might end up with a trade and then an f4, that sort of idea. Or do we go silly and go c5? We can develop our bishop and maybe trade it for a knight here. But I think I'm going to go c6 and maybe just put the bishop on this diagonal. It's very common to get moves like this. He's actually gone back over, but we trade them bishop, so we'll trade it. Okay, so he's likely to want to push. So do we jump in first and try and go for this structure? That seems quite playable actually. I'm going to risk that. Because then we can always try and guard, and he might open up the file. It's double-edged. It is very double-edged. That invites us to play f5. That's probably quadruple-edged or something. So let's play it. I mean, I've got knight across, haven't I? I can guard the pawn and hit the queen. Develop the knight in one go. So they're my two candidate moves. Does it matter? I'm a bit more of a cautious positional player, so to me, naturally, knight across is the more instinctive move I would make. f5 prepares a quick f4 at some point. Maybe the more aggressive move. Knight across, the queen's got to shift somewhere. We guard the pawn. I'm not sure, because we could do a rook lift and come across. Let's just be bold. It stops the knight jumping either way if we go f5. Let's do that, and we might be able to prepare some sort of rook lift. Or we might just pop the bishop there, or the bishop here. Yeah, let's bring the bishop across onto this diagonal. Maybe trade it for the knight just to mix it up, knight versus bishop. But at least they're equal coloured, they're not opposite coloured bishops. But we're just preparing a concept at some point to push. Now if we go here, he's probably going to have to drop back. So is rook up worth thinking about now? Maybe not just yet. If I'm going to push here, that just doesn't work right now at all, does it? So what about knight into the centre? I like the look of that. I like the look of knight across and going in a nice square where there's no pawn to naturally challenge the knight. To close the diagonal down, and again to reinforce that we might push at some point. Just feels like a natural square. So he has pushed forward. Okay, so we could take... It'll activate his knight and we can jump forward this way. So we can take... Knight in is the very natural reply. Knight up to us to attack his bishop, and he's got a permanent weakness here. Our pawn we can guard. He's got a permanent target. It's got to be a good move, hasn't it? En passant, it's got to be good. I assume he'd go with the knight. I don't know he would, but I assume he would. But equally, when we get forward, he can try and target our pawn, but we do have pawn up. If we don't do that, it's going to be really hard to break through it, so I'm going to risk it and go for it. It's going to be really difficult if we don't take there. So I'm going to try and plant the knight and then try and get stacked across this side. So he's actually thrown a check in. Okay, so if I play a knight across and I don't go here. King to the corner, what's his idea? Something like this. Knight across, knight takes. Maybe pawn up. But I think I want the knight there, so I'm going to put the king in the corner. Okay, so I think I want the knight forward here. Let's just hit the bishop, stop the knight from jumping in. I assume it stops the knight jumping in. Well, the queen covers, doesn't it, right now? But it's going to be awkward to try and guard this pawn. Awkward. Risk and reward in all chess, and miles down on the clock, 2.5 minutes. He played it crazy fast. Crazy quickly for a rapid game. Okay, so I've got to speed up here, so I'm going to try and bring the rook across and just pile pressure on. At some point we might be able to take and then target the pawn, but it's not on right now. I mean, do we go g5, g4? Something we've got to consider at least. But rook into the centre, just very natural, but I've lost half of my time already. We're only at move 20. So the second half I'm going to have to play it quicker. So he's pushed the pawn forward. That could be a bit of a technical problem, couldn't it? So what if I go here instead? I don't think I want that file open, but takes. No, it's too risky. I'm going to go here. Too risky to try and capture that. Again, it restricts the knight this side. So maybe we try this now and we try and march our pawns on. Our opponent's kind of pushing us into some only move or only concepts here. So he's moved his bishop to get active. So again, do we take it? Do we go here to threaten to push? I don't see an immediate threat. So I think I'm going to just push up and try and chase the queen somewhere. I don't think there's a sacrifice. Our knight in right now is plenty covered. He's gone back to hit our knight. So now we have to decide. Probably take the bishop. But we do have pawn up first, right? His queen has to move. So let's play that and hit the queen. And then we might be able to take and queen up here, create a threat. I assume we want to take here. Let's get rid of that and then queen up just to create a basic threat. Well, that gives us a double hit here, doesn't it? So we attack a pawn. So we can grab a pawn. Let's take it and maybe drop all the way back. He's just going for a brute force, blasting it open, isn't he? And it might work, of course it might. Yeah, knight in. So he wants to come here, and we can't really stop it. But we've got queen back, threatening this check idea again. So back, knight in, check, king across. Maybe just shift the rook or something. Is pawn up a move? I don't think so. I'm going to drop the queen back because I don't see the benefit of being here. It does create a threat. He's probably just still playing anywhere. Then maybe rook up, preparing a lift at some point, and we still cover this check. It's quite a tricky position we've gotten into, but the knight forms a nice barricade here, so he's actually gone more direct, and I just missed that. I can get the queen out of the way, and then I can push up. He's got a knight check, hasn't he? I've got to get the queen moved first. I've got to push. Knight check now loses the bishop, so actually it doesn't. The queen covers. So knight check, I can go here. But he's playing this really well, isn't he? Really well. But really quickly as well. Does he sack with a pawn? That would be really bold, but he might do it. I think I've got rook a7 if he does after we trade, but... Okay, so now we're going to need to try and push this one on if we can. If we go here right now, he just obviously pushes. But what about pushing our own pawn up then? He can't push right now, we're just taking as a pin. Rook across is a very nice square, so that's what he's trying to prepare. So let's bring our rook over now. So down we just take back and we attack the queen. If we could get this pawn, that would be really good. Don't see how we can. But maybe I made a mistake and I should have gone here. here, here, here. I'm going to just prepare that. I have to play quickly because I'm miles down on the clock. I'm trying to do this and this. Again, right now we can take with an attack on the queen. So I think he's realised what I'm trying to do. Oh, he's hung his rook. He just hung his rook. He's just had a complete lapse in concentration and hung the rook. He just forgot that the pawn was there. It's just simple lapse in concentration. Let's see what it was in engine speak. Okay, 35 moves. They're the move times for both players. We all blunder like that, of course. It's just a case of when and who against and how badly. But let's just see what it was in engine speak. Were we actually better prior to that move? Oh, we've been much better here and blundered it back to level. So on the whole, we played a pretty decent game, but here we've dropped a clanger. +5 back to level on move 30. So we've got 85 against 81 on the accuracy. But you can see the opening, we've both played it pretty well. Nothing's being flagged here. So just common sense development moves. Get castle, get your king safe. Now here, queen g4 is an inaccuracy. f5 was a good move. f4 is an accuracy. I should not have taken en passant. I should have kept it closed and brought the knight across. So 2.1 to 1. So I lost a point with that. I should have kept it closed and played a more slow game, which is my natural way of playing. That's what I generally do, and that's what was correct here rather than taking. But then the blunders are coming up now. So knight back there was a blunder. b5 was correct. Queen back, and I should have just pushed the pawn on and not taken. We should have pushed the pawn up rather than taking there. So that's actually a blunder. We've lost 3 points for that. Okay, so if we push the pawn on, I can see obviously the bishop is trapped, but there must be a way that we do actually win a piece. There's no sort of escaping via a capture, for instance. So if you take and we take here, you can take this one. So if you take and we take back, you can drop the bishop back. So let's see. Apparently you have to give up the bishop is the best line. That's the best line. That's what the engine shows. Okay. I didn't see that. And then here, I should have actually taken, there might be a forced sequence or something. I should have taken here and allowed queen takes. But I didn't see a forced mate. Maybe there's check or bishop up. I should have played rook takes, queen takes, bishop up, yeah, going after the king. Queen takes, queen check, queen takes, king up, and then take the rook, then c4 check. Okay, I didn't see all this, of course, but that was actually a blunder. And with that move, it's actually back to level here. And yeah, he should have gone for this sacrifice. I wonder if he might do that. Takes, takes, takes. My queen guards my bishop, so I thought I might have rook up and be able to come across. Maybe he can just keep checking somehow. That's what he should have done. Knight takes, takes. Oh, it just comes in with a queen and just repeat. Just repeat. It's just an automatic draw, isn't it? Can't avoid it. If I take him back there, it's just an automatic draw. That's what you should have done. So that's why it was back to level. Because he'd taken, was still then better. And then it just comes down to a one-move blunder. He's either done a mouse slip or he's just literally forgotten that the pawn was there. So we get a bit of luck with that one, but it turns out to be a win.